If you love the vanilla ice cream cones at Ikea, and who doesn't, then you're gonna love Martin Luther. Welcome back to Wretched. The great reformer 500 years ago kicked off a big shebang we call the Protestant Reformation. It had theological effects, but it also had social implications. The Economist commenting that Martin Luther, not singularly, but in great part, changed Western civilization. If you recall, some historians say we were in the Dark Ages. People weren't educated, the culture was rough and it was crude, family life was virtually non-existent, and the monk from Germany had a great deal of influence in all of those spheres, including the furniture at Ikea. Here's the first way he influenced us. Martin Luther believed that Christians were guaranteed salvation through Jesus, but had a duty to live in such a way as to deserve it. Now, just to be clear, that's the Economist writing. Luther would say we never deserve salvation. But studying the book of James, he would say that is how a Christian should live in response to the good news of grace alone, through faith alone, in Jesus Christ alone. Now back to the Economist. Ostentation, according to Luther, was thus a disgraceful distraction from the asceticism required to examine one's own conscience. To be certain, he did not promote being a monk. He was not into nunnery. He did not want people living off in a cloister someplace where they could do no earthly good. Nevertheless, his view was we have been given so much through salvation in Jesus, we should be modest, humble people, and it affected Germany and Scandinavia. The traces of this severity live on in Germany's early 20th century Bauhaus architecture. You see it all over the place these days. And even in the furniture styles at Ikea. From Lutheran Sweden, they can be seen in the modest dress, office decor, and eating habits of Angela Merkel, the daughter of a Lutheran pastor. So if you don't like the furniture at Ikea, it's probably because you're not Lutheran. Martin Luther influenced all of those things, and I think, even though you might be thinking, well, okay, big deal, furniture design, the way that Angela Merkel eats and dresses, not that important. I think it is that important to teach our kids that this one man had that kind of influence. Why? Because so many kids are looking back over across the Tiber to Roman Catholicism, and they stand in awe thinking there's an unbroken chain of succession from this pope back to Peter, and they want to be a part of something big. Gotta tell you, being a part of the Protestant Reformation is something big. Yes, it changed things theologically, but it also changed our entire civilization. Now, this is the second way. According to The Economist, to Luther, music was a divinely inspired weapon against the devil. He wanted believers to sing together in German, in church, at home, and with instruments accompanying them. Today, Germany has 130 publicly financed orchestras, more than any other country. And concerts are still attended like sermons, somber and seriously. Now, if you've been to Germany, you know that pretty much everything is done somber and seriously. But that's not the point. Music is a big deal in Germany. Why? Because of Martin Luther. Effect number 3. To Luther, wealth was suspect. Not forbidden, but suspect. Instead of amassing it, Christians should work for their community, not themselves. Work thus became a calling, not profit, but redistribution was the goal. According to Gerhard Wegner, a professor of theology, this Lutheran socialism finds secular expression in the welfare states of Scandinavia and Germany. Ever wondered why Scandinavia, Germany, and Minnesota, the land of 10,000 Lutheran churches, is so liberal? Thank Martin Luther. To be sure, I don't think that he'd be a fan of the government reaching into the pockets of the wealthy to redistribute it to the poor. It was a heart issue. Work hard, taught the great reformer, so that you can make money, but not for yourself, but for the sharing with others. That influence came from one Martin Luther. But wait, there's another realm that Martin Luther influenced. No kidding, laws. Civil laws. The laws of our government, influenced greatly by Luther, who recognized if we don't have a good government operating legally and well, all of these theological reforms will be in jeopardy. This, according to John Whitty Jr., the radical theological reforms introduced by Martin Luther and his colleagues triggered major legal reforms in 16th century Germany and Scandinavia. These new Protestant laws, in turn, helped to establish and enforce the new norms and practices of theology and polity, doctrine and liturgy, church and state, marriage and education, charity, morality, and these remained in place in Lutheran lands until the 20th century. How profound, how far-reaching were the reforms of Martin Luther? They've affected our laws. But wait, they also affect our education. We take it for granted that all kids should learn their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s, but that was not the case before Martin Luther. This from Christine Eichel. It was Luther who first preached the importance of education for both sexes, a legacy handed down to generations of Protestants. If Protestant majority countries enjoy a higher standard of living today, it is thanks to Luther and his ideas on education. You say, what? Martin Luther actually affected the socioeconomic status of Western civilization? Yeah, more from Christine Eichel. Famously, the Prussian sociologist and economist Max Weber, writing at the start of the 20th century, asserted that a distinctive Protestant work ethic was the driving force behind modern capitalism and the key to Protestants' greater affluence. But maybe the true reason can be found in the greater literacy that attended more widespread Bible reading and schooling. Do you enjoy your quality of life in the West? Then say, Dankeschön, Martin Luther. Thank you very much for watching Something Wretched. If you would like to continue watching Wretched videos, would you be kind enough to become a Wretched Club member? Your monthly support keeps us on the air, and you get lots of tchotchkes and benefits. Learn more at wretched.tv/club.